Hello everybody, if you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. Today I have some exciting news to share with you guys. So, for those of you who already follow me on Instagram and Twitter, then you already know, and for those of you who don't, you should go follow me. Links are down below, and I'll just wait until you go and find out. Okay, I'm not actually gonna wait until you guys go check and find out, but you should follow me. The exciting news that I'm sharing today is that just before Christmas, my longtime boyfriend and I got engaged. So here is the ring. I will do a better photo because right now it just looks like a sparkly thing. But yeah, we got engaged over Christmas. And I just wanted to kind of share with you our engagement story and kind of what happened, and I hope you guys enjoy. I think our story is a little bit different than a lot of people, but I think ours is very modern and very practical, and yeah. So I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys and just some of the response I've got, and yeah. So anyways, let's get into the story. So I definitely think this is the kind of video where you want to have some tea. So my cup does say bride. But just go make yourself a drink, grab a snack, hit pause. This is going to be a chatty video, so yeah. Okay, so I'll just give you a little bit of background information about our relationship. So Stuart and I have been together for a little over 4.5 years. So I'm filming it, today is January 4th. And in mid-April we'll be celebrating 5 years. So we started dating just a couple of weeks before I turned 20. So technically we've been dating since I was a teenager. He is a year older than me, technically 11 months older than me, but he's a year older than me. So when we started dating I was 19 and he was 20, and then within a couple of weeks I was 20 and he was 21. So we've been together for quite a while. We both met through a mutual interest, a club we were involved in, and just from that mutual interest we just got together and never broke up. And our plan was, when we started dating, we knew that we liked each other, but we weren't sure if we liked each other. So we didn't tell anyone we were dating for about 6 months. Some of our closest friends found out within about 2 weeks. But other than that, we didn't really tell anybody until we knew that we really cared about each other and were excited to be, together and public about it. And then we started telling people, and we've just been together ever since. In the time we've been together, we've gone to Europe twice. So the first time we went to Paris and Ireland, and the second time was our trip this summer, and we went to England, Spain, France, Monaco, Morocco, and Iceland. So we've done lots of traveling together. We've lived together in 2 different cities. We've done internships together in Ottawa and in Toronto, and we live in Toronto now. And so yeah, we just have a very kind of happy, stable, long-term relationship. And so us getting engaged came as a surprise to precisely nobody. So my fiance is a articling student, so he'll be a lawyer in June. And he finished up law school in April, and at the same time, my parents sold our house in Toronto and they moved a couple hours north of the city to begin their retirement, which meant I needed to find a place to live, and so did he. And I work downtown Toronto, so we decided to move in together, and literally the first thing we did was we got our cats. I'm gonna pause for a second and just grab one. I'm back. So this is Maggie, and I've had her since April, so she's almost a year old, and she's half Siberian. But anyways, so we got our 2 kitties. Winston's napping right now. So we got our kitties. I'm just holding Maggie just off screen, but there's a little head. Oh. So we got Maggie and Winston, and we just kind of, part of our deal about moving in is that we knew that we were moving towards marriage. I think we've known for, I don't exactly know when we started talking about getting married, but it's something we've definitely been talking about in different capacities for the last couple of years, haven't we? Yes, we have. And yeah, so when we moved in, part of the deal about moving in was that we were working towards getting married and getting engaged within about a year of moving in. We knew that we would be engaged. And that's just because it's something that we talked about. We talked about what we wanted for our future and the kind of life we wanted, and we just knew we were on the same page. And so then that summer we went to Europe, and then in the kind of the late fall, we started talking just a little bit more seriously about getting married and getting engaged. And in the late fall, it kind of stopped becoming a conversation about one day and then started kind of being something that was a little bit more concrete and a little bit more kind of what we were moving towards. And I don't know if other couples are in this position, but you know, our families really like us together. And you know, at different occasions, both my parents and his parents had made comments to me like, oh, of course we'll help with the wedding, or of course we will help pay for the wedding. But you know, help pay for the wedding can be anything from like, here's a couple $1,000, which, not that there's anything wrong with that, of course we'd be very grateful, all the way through paying for the whole thing. And to me and Stuart, it didn't necessarily matter if they were going to cover the whole thing, or if they were just going to kind of give us a partial contribution. The number didn't so much matter, but knowing what the number was mattered. And basically we kind of budgeted out what an average wedding costs for something, you know, nice, not extravagant, but definitely nice, for the number of guests that we wanted. And you were still cuddling with me. Oh, is our cuddle coming to an end? Yeah, so anyway, so we kind of knew how much the kind of wedding that we'd like to have, and honestly the kind of wedding that our parents would be excited to invite their friends to. And so we kind of knew what that number was, and so we asked our parents, you know, how much were they willing to contribute, and they asked to see the budget. I know my parents, my mom's an accountant. And so we showed them the budget, and they each said what they'd be willing to contribute, and basically together that covered effectively the whole wedding. I do think that Stuart and I are going to have to spend some of our own money. We're paying for the rings ourselves and our honeymoon ourselves. And like, I might end up paying for my dress or something, like, you know, there might be one or two kind of things like that that we'll pay for, but it took kind of a big weight off our shoulders knowing that our parents were generous enough and able to cover, I guess, the overwhelming majority, if not all of the costs of our wedding. So once we knew, basically having that information, we were kind of debating between a 2019 and a 2020 wedding. And honestly, the year wasn't about how much we loved each other. It was really just about money. It was just about, you know, if we can afford to do a wedding in 2019, then we want to get married in 2019. But if we can't afford the wedding we want for 2019, then we'd rather wait a year and do it in 2020, because we kind of figure we're only getting married once and we want to do it right and we want to do it beautifully. And so once we knew that we could afford a 2019 wedding, obviously with help, not just us, but you know, once we knew that 2019 was financially in the cards for us, then we started talking about getting a ring, and we had set a ring budget, and then we saw what the ring budget bought, and then we amended our ring budget to be a little bit more. I mean, I think as much as the ring is something that a woman wears as a symbol of love from her man and wears because it's beautiful and wears to celebrate their commitment, if you're telling me that a guy doesn't, I'm trying to think of a general way of saying it, it's basically a dick measuring contest. You know, if you're telling me that a guy doesn't want people complimenting the ring and complimenting kind of not only his ability to pick something pretty, but his ability to provide something beautiful, then you're lying. Because I know that with my fiance, he loves it when people compliment the ring because he feels proud of himself for being able to buy me something beautiful. So once we knew 2019 was in the cards, we talked about it. Like, we talked about everything, and I know some people who get engaged and it's a surprise, and you know, I do think that's beautiful, and it's, you know, it's very exciting. But for us, honestly, I think that marriage is the biggest choice you're going to make in your life. It's a financial choice, it's an emotional choice, it's a spiritual choice, and it's a choice about not only who you're spending your life with, but who you're joining your life with. And knowing that it's the biggest decision for us, it was just important to just talk about everything and for it to really be a mutual decision, and not just a decision that I make when he's standing there with the ring being like, marry me, I bought you something expensive and beautiful. And yeah, I really just think it's just something that a couple should come to together, and that's kind of very much our philosophy on that. And yeah, so one sec. And so we kind of decided together that we were going to get engaged. And recently, some of our very good friends, actually the same friends who knew that we were dating 2 weeks in when they really shouldn't have, you know who you are, they got engaged, and her ring is just beautiful. My friend Alex's ring is just so beautiful. And, you know, even Stuart, who I wouldn't say he's a connoisseur of fine jewelry, but when he saw the ring, he knew it was beautiful and beautifully made. And Alex had always said that when we were ready to talk about rings, to call her up, so we did. We had them over for dinner, or a bite to eat and wine, and they kind of taught Stuart and me what we needed to know, and referred us to their jeweler, and we were very happy with their jeweler. I think he did an incredible job on my ring. And it was funny because I told him I'd never heard of him until Alex recommended, and he said that his business plan was that, and his marketing plan is that he makes beautiful rings, and he makes them so beautifully that other people see them and they want them, and he gets referral business. And I mean, he got referral business from us. But yeah, so anyways, so we designed my ring together. And what happened was, so Stuart's idea of a perfect engagement ring is very traditional. He wanted a round solitaire diamond with a yellow gold band. I really don't mind round diamonds, but I really am not a yellow gold person. I don't mind it as like a fun necklace here and there, but in terms of something I want to wear every single day, I did not want to wear yellow gold. I wanted rose gold. Now, Stuart felt that that was kind of a trend and like a trendy fad that would come and go and look very dated. And he's probably right, but I still wanted rose gold. And what I wanted was a big diamond in the middle and 2 smaller diamonds on the side. So as you can tell, we wanted 2 very different things. And my thought is that I'm the one wearing the ring, so it should be exactly what I want. And Stuart's thought is that it's our ring and it represents us, and that he should have a say in it too, also because he's paying for it. So yeah. So what I did is I just went on Pinterest and I just pinned, pinnity pin, and I just pinned things that I thought were beautiful, and I didn't pay too much attention to if they were, what metal they were, because you can always have that changed. And I didn't really pay a lot of attention to if it was 1 diamond or 3 diamonds. One piece of advice that Alex gave us was that, you know, you can get 1 beautiful stone and put a lot of money into it, or you can get a couple of smaller stones, but that you get the most wow factor with that 1 big stone. And so I just pinned, and I was just pinning away one night, and I pinned this ring that I just thought was so pretty. And a little thing popped up on Pinterest, and it told me that I'd already pinned this ring. And I'd actually already pinned that ring 4 times, which is a lot. Like, there are a lot of rings on Pinterest, and I pinned the same one 4 times. And so the little thing told me that I pinned it a couple times, and so I thought, okay, I clearly like this ring. I have pinned it several times, and I showed it to Stuart, and he thought it was beautiful too. And so I'm gonna put right here the pin that I found. But what I loved about it, what I loved about my ring is, from a perspective of kind of bringing together what we both wanted, we went with a large center stone. It's an oval cut, and what makes my oval stone really unique is that it doesn't have a bow, which is just basically like when the light reflects. There's in most oval stones, there's kind of this area where no light reflects, but mine doesn't have that. It's very like a round, kind of voluminous oval, if that makes sense, rather than long and skinny. And then we had a very tiny, delicate halo put around it. I was really on the fence about the halo, but we needed the halo in order to have the little trillium flower style supports to hold it up. And so that was it for me. And the trilliums to me kind of, well, I don't know if they're trilliums. We call them like a little floral, but someone said it looks like a trillium, and I mean it does. Gave that little detail on the side instead of having the two smaller diamonds. And I was very specific that in the halo around my ring, that I wanted it to be as tiny a halo as humanly possible. Because I generally think halos look kind of tacky. But I have a halo, so guess I changed my mind a little bit. Now, when we were designing the ring, I went with my friend Alex and we looked at some stones, and I narrowed it down to 2 stones. One was completely on budget and one was a little over budget. And we all know, like, I don't know, I knew in my heart that I wanted the bigger one. And then when I showed them to Stuart, he agreed that it was better. So, but don't worry, we didn't really go that much over budget in the grand scheme of things. I think we were very much on the target we had set. And then, yeah, and then I showed him I sent him the pin, I was gonna call the Pinstagram. we sent the jeweler the Pinterest link, and then he basically just entirely replicated that with some small changes that we had made for it. We did buy our ring from a wholesaler jeweler, not from a retail. So I've decided I don't want to share what we spent on the ring, but I do want you to know what a good value we got for it. The retail appraisal for a ring, so what it would cost if we went into, say a diamond or jewelry store in the mall, would have cost us 3 times what we paid with an independent wholesaler jeweler. So again, I can't recommend it enough to go with an independent jeweler who can design the ring exactly as you want it and get you a great price on it. And what was really cool is as we were designing it, our jeweler was able to tell us, like, oh, if you want the halo, that'll be, say, $400. The band is $800. This will be $200. And so we were really able to break down kind of where the price came from, and then of course the diamond and taxes and et cetera and et cetera. So yeah, we definitely saved a lot of money by going to a wholesale jeweler. And then when the ring was ready, I came in and tried it on, and then we went out for dinner and he formally proposed. So we went to Barbarian Steakhouse for dinner, and it was really nice. The ring came in this box, and like, it's a very dark restaurant, and so it's like a little light in the box that just shone on the ring. It just like sparkled, and it was just so sparkly. And yeah, so then he formally proposed, and of course I said yes. Yeah, and then they brought us some free champagne, so that was really great. And we had a wonderful dinner, and it was just a couple days before Christmas, and the next day we called our parents and our aunts and uncles and made sure our grandparents knew. And then after everyone who was really and truly close to us knew, then we posted it on Facebook. And we just had a really wonderful experience. And some people have said, like, aren't you disappointed that it wasn't a surprise? And honestly, no. I love that I had a voice in designing my ring. I love that I love my ring. I love that I'm not going to have to grow to love my ring. And yeah, I love it. And I love that it was a process that we got to do together. And I love that, that my ring is perfect for me. Like, everyone who's seen it and who knows me, agrees that this ring is very me and, very perfect for me. It's kind of vintagey and it's very sparkly. And I just love it. And I'm sure that if Stuart had picked a ring by himself, that I would have loved it because he loved it and loved it because he chose it for me. But I just love that, that I got a ring that I really wanted and really loved. And, that I was involved in that process, and it was really exciting to get engaged just before Christmas, because then over Christmas, when we were seeing both of our families, we were able to tell them the good news and share it with them and just be excited with them. So yeah, anyway, so that is our engagement story. I do think it is becoming more common for women to have a voice in their engagement and to be a part of that process. I am so glad that I did, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone, especially long-term couples who really are a team. You know, my fiance and I are a team, and I will say it does feel kind of funny to be using the word fiance, only because he's been my boyfriend for nearly 5 years, and it's kind of funny. It's kind of a funny word, right? Because I've called him my boyfriend for 5 years, and you call him your boyfriend for so long, and then you're engaged for really only a snapshot, and then you're married, and then he's your husband. But for the next year and a bit, he is my fiance. So if you guys want to see more wedding content, please leave a comment down below about the kind of stuff you want to see. I'm going to be doing stuff on my blog, on my YouTube, and just really sharing this journey with you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it interesting. I hope you find it fun. And yeah, so anyways, that is the story of how we got engaged and how we got engaged together. And yeah, I love my ring. That's how we've designed it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to sharing more content about my wedding planning journey with you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.